Well, weather-wise, where I live, we went from 0 to 60. We had the most beautiful, cool spring, and now we have the most hot, disgusting, humid summer. But that is okay because I love making summer clothing. I love wearing light layers. I love romantic, flowy lace, and I love wearing light colors, predominantly neutral colors, natural linens, and then of course just crisp whites. So if you think of Victorian undergarments, that's what I like to wear on the outside. I have some historical pieces of fashion, but because they are genuine from the time period, I don't feel like I should wear them a lot in my day-to-day life. Plus, the knickers that I have, or bloomers, whatever you call them, they have a split down the crotch. So really practical, very much into that, but I don't think that the rest of the people would want to see me walking down the street with split crotch bloomers. So because it's so hot and disgusting outside, what I wanted to do was create a beautiful pair of breezy, simple pants. I'm going to use a pantaloon pattern that I have had for decades at this point. I seriously bought this pattern back in like 1995. I've only made it a couple times, but every time I've made it, it's worked out. So my plans are to incorporate this new skill that I acquired recently. I learned how to do lace inlay. I think that's what it's called. I'm not positive. That's my best guess, and I don't feel like looking it up. I learned to do lace inlay with this project here, and it was really, really rewarding. It was a bit tedious and time consuming, but I thought that the effort you put into it was completely worth the end result. So I want to do it again. This time I'm just going to be winging it, and I'm going to try to do like a vertical stripe on this pantaloon pattern, and hopefully I come up with something very kind of romantic, whimsical, breezy, hopefully not too risque, depending on where I end up placing the lace inlay and how see-through the lace is, because I'm not necessarily wanting a lot of like crotch visibility, but we'll see how it goes. Honestly, usually I don't even care about those things. It kind of depends on the setting and atmosphere, and if it feels right, I'm gonna go for it. So I would like to basically clean up the mess and chaos that is my life, start finding fabric that I can use for this. I don't want to purchase anything. I want to use all things that I already have on hand. Kind of wing this whole concept of doing the lace inlay and figuring out where that's going to go and how it's going to be put into this particular pattern, and then put it together and see what happens. So let's get started. Okay, rather than you get a glimpse of my dirty floor by having the camera lower, I'm gonna stand up on this chair here. Let's see if this works. So here are the pantaloons that I made previously in that one project I was talking about earlier, and you know, I like them. I think they serve the purpose. I think there might be a few things that I want to change. I am going to need a little bit more of a waistband, so I'm going to extend the length of the pattern piece because I kind of want it to be a bit ruffled around the top and maybe a bit of a higher waist. I am a stickler for a high waist. Ever since I had kids, I cannot go back to those low-waisted pants. I need something here covering this little disaster zone. But yeah, I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm not gonna do the pin tucks, which I think are probably not even noticeable from your vantage point. And I'm gonna do the lace inlay vertically. I thought it would have been fun to do it horizontally, but then when I match it up on the seams, if it doesn't match up identically, it's gonna be offset, and that would drive me absolutely crazy. So I think I'm just going to kind of go through all of the pieces. Let me get down. Okay, I'm gonna go through all of the random pieces that I just pulled out of my cabinet, figure out which type of fabric I wanna use, which lace I wanna use, kind of start to visualize what everything's gonna look like, and then get down to cutting pieces out and sewing. So let's head over there. Okay, I am sitting funny because I don't have enough distance between me and the camera to be in the frame appropriately, and I also have a bright light behind me, so Ignore the angel-like halo that you're seeing. I picked out the fabric yesterday that I was going to use, and basically that consisted of me going through all the fabrics that I had pulled out of the cabinet, and I only had one fabric that was actually large enough to accommodate the size of these pattern pieces. So for better or worse, I am using this fabric. It's pretty similar to the one that I used on the other pantaloons that I made, but it is slightly different. My ideal would be having a white set of pantaloons and white lace, but right now I'm kind of stuck with a natural grayish linen and then this cotton lace that's kind of in a color, maybe you'd call it ecru, I don't know, beige, tan, cream. But you know, there's a bit of a contrast here. It might play to my advantage, it might look haphazard, I'm not sure. I honestly don't know how this pattern is going to turn out. Clearly I'm making it up as I go along, but what I've done is just kind of laid different lace pieces. Again, they have to be different because I just don't have the quantity to do something very exacting with this project. It's going to have to kind of almost be like a quilt with leftover scraps, but hopefully it'll be charming. So anyway, I laid out various pieces of lace here, and now I'm just in the process of stitching them to the actual garment. I've only stitched this one so far, but to do the lace inlay technique that I'm going to work on, you just kind of stitch as close to the lace as possible on both sides of the lace, and then we're going to turn it over and cut down the back in the middle, hopefully in a better setting where I have the camera set up so you can actually see what I'm doing and I'm not all hunched over to keep my face in the frame. I promise I'll be less lazy with the next few shots, but I'm just gonna kind of knock this out and see if I even have enough lace to do all 4 of these. There's 2 backs and 2 front legs, so I'm gonna have to have enough lace to create a decent striped effect. I don't want it to be too spotty or too shoddy, so hopefully I'll have enough for that. I'm just going to keep going, and I'll check back in with you when it's time to cut the backs and actually create the see-through lace feature on this lace inlay here. I just got done stitching all of the lace to the front piece of one of the legs, and so basically I just stitched as close to the edge as possible, tacking down both sides of each piece of lace. You can see the stitching here when I flip it over. You can barely see the stitching here when I flip it over. There we go. So now I'm going to cut right down the middle of each of these pieces of lace, doing my best to stay directly in the middle, keeping an even side on either edge. This part is always scary. I get nervous that I'm going to actually cut the lace on the underside, but usually I never do. And when you spread this open, it reveals the lace. Okay, now we are going to use the worst ironing board ever. This thing doesn't even stay on it. It drives me nuts. I really need to invest in a new one, but for some reason I never do. And we're going to iron open both sides of each piece of lace. Then we're going to zigzag these edges, and then you turn this over and you stitch again very close to the edge, thus pinning this part down. So by the time you're done, the inside is going to look pretty chaotic, but the outside remains flat and beautiful, and these pieces that could potentially kind of wiggle all over and disguise and hide the see-through lace are stitched and pinned down so they don't ever interfere with that beautiful see-through lace element. So I'm going to get to work. This is just one leg. I have 3 others to do. Then I'm going to attach the legs, and we'll see if my little plan worked out. casual recap. Okay, so I did not break my nose. I am just wearing some toilet paper under my glasses because I hate when you get those marks right here on either side of your nose when you wear frames. And you know, I'm a delicate flower. So here we are. I am basically working on editing the reveal. Got some nice footage. Thank you, Cece. My 11-year-old daughter films 99% of the reveal footage, and I think she does a great job, so I like to give her a shout out. I am coming to you this morning crunchy, raw, dirty, disgusting. I'm really busy. I have so much going on today, and I just need to knock out this recap, knock out this video. As always, I am behind. There's just too much to do in a day. So let's get down to the pantaloons. Long story short, I think they're really cute. They were supposed to have a very light, breezy summer feel, and actually they felt kind of heavy, almost like winter pantaloons, something that was thick and quilted. If you imagine kind of like a quilted petticoat that women would wear under their skirts in the wintertime for extra warmth, I think after all of the stitching and layering, it just kind of had a heavier quality to it. With that said, you can still absolutely wear them in the summertime, and I remember being concerned that you would see too much through the lace. I don't really think that's the case. There are a couple of thicker lace pieces on my butt that are a bit see-through, but who cares? Who doesn't like a good, you know, butt view sometimes? So we're just rolling with it. I'm not too worried about it. But overall, I think the pants turned out cute. They kind of make me feel like a glorified wedding cupcake. They're just so highly decorated and ornate and frilly. But every once in a while, I want to feel that way. So whenever you want to feel like an incredibly decadent wedding cupcake, just go ahead and throw these on and head over to your local old-timey grist mill, and there you go. You have something cinematic and romantic. But yeah, it was a fun project. It came together pretty quickly. I ended up using so much thread. It felt wasteful and ridiculous. I think I went through 4 spools of white thread. I had to borrow the last one from my mom. Thanks, Mom. And you know, it just got to this point where it felt ridiculous. But if you think about it, each piece of lace has stitching running the full length of, you know, either side. Then you cut it open, then you pin those pieces down, then you stitch those down, and you zigzag the edges so it doesn't fray, and just by the time you're done, it's just so much thread. So, you know, I think next time I'm gonna be a little bit more mindful and a little less generous with the lace inlay. Maybe I'll just kind of use it as a small feature here and there versus an entire outfit. And now as I'm saying that, I'm thinking that it would go great with this other pants pattern that I made before, and that would be the entire outfit. So we'll see what I end up doing. I just felt guilty throwing away all of those empty spool threads. If you guys know of anything you can do creative wise, recycle wise with those empty spool threads, or if there's a company that sells like biodegradable spool threads, let me know. I'd be super interested in purchasing from them. I hate generating waste. And here we are at the end of another project. If you enjoyed this video, if you could like and subscribe, it does really mean the world to me. My goal is to make this channel less of a hobby, more of a career, try to earn a little bit of income doing this because of all the time and effort that I put into these videos, which honestly I would do anyway just because I thoroughly enjoy the process. But who doesn't want to make some money doing what they enjoy? That's the dream, right? So long story short, your support is greatly appreciated. If you have comments or feedback, please post it below. I would love to hear from you, and you know I always respond. And until next time, I hope to see you again. Bye!